The start list for the men's pommel horse competition. Second strongest in qualification, Radomir Schlitz of Czech Republic gets us underway. The top performer, Xiaoyu Jian of Chinese Taipei. 3/10 between the top two after qualification, but Ferhat Arujan of Turkey certainly a contender. He produced a score only a matter of 500ths below Schlitz. And he looked thrilled for Ferhat Arujan to be in this final. The women's vault final about to get underway. Top performer in qualification gets us underway. It is Teja Belak, the European Games vault champion. Tiana Corin, her teammate, will go at the end of the final. So teammate, I mean competitor at a great many World Cups. They are familiar faces side by side in these World Cup vault finals. And we have also in this vault final Bilge Tarhan of the second highest, 12.875. We're talking about a gap of almost a full mark. So really one would imagine as long as Teja Belak stays in the building, she's going to be able to take the title here. Radomir Schlitz of the Czech Republic will begin this men's pommel horse final. He's a real specialist on this apparatus. He competed at the European Championships in Munich, unfortunately came off. But his scoring qualification 14.1. He's an undergraduate of teaching from the University of Ostrava. He's got a lovely straight position here. Heels pressed together as well. This is technically very nice at the start. Great lines. Now, can he keep it as he goes into the Russian Wendeschwings? Now he's into the Magyar Shivado sequence. Shivado particularly nicely done there. Kept his clearance just about over the apparatus. Now into the Russian Wendeschwings as he drops a little low, almost brushing the handles. But that's good work from Radomir Schlitz of the Czech Republic. He does sometimes compete on the parallel bars as well, but he's best known internationally for his pommel horse gymnastics. Now we go over to the women's vault competition. It is Slovenia's Teja Belak to get us started. Oh, that is such a good beginning from Teja Belak. Really lovely execution. Now, difficulty-wise, this should see her with a 5. Yeah, that really is lovely. .85 the score in qualification. 28-year-old European Games vault champion in Minsk. Absolutely one of the veteran World Cup performers out there. She's won 23 World Cup medals. including a gold in this building in 2019. And she's been in terrific form since returning to competition after the birth of her son. That is a marvellous score, 14 for Belak. Her execution's up by 1/10.5 from qualification. And that 5 difficulty vault is, we anticipate, the only 5 difficulty vault that we're going to see in this final, unless there are some surprises. Yes, well executed second vault as well. The Yurchenko layout 1.5. And that, one imagines, might be hard, if not impossible, to go beyond. So well done to Taya Belak, the veteran. Now next up will be Ferhat Arujan of Turkey on the pommel horse. We're awaiting the score for Radomir Schlitz. We'll come back to that just as soon as we have it, but this is the gymnast who was the 3rd best in qualification. 29-year-old. He actually won a pommel horse bronze medal this summer at the Islamic Solidarity Games. Slick looking beginning this. And goes into the Buznari. Oh, what big flare work. Rapid Magyar Shivado sequence. Beautiful pirouettes round. That's lovely. That is just lovely from Ferhat Arujan. Very nice display. Now, how will that compare to his 8.25 score for execution in the qualification round? Let's keep an eye on that one. Heels are absolutely super glued together. He's got very little leg bend, almost no bend in the centre as well. Terrific form. Now meanwhile, here is Sara Surmanova from Slovakia. Handspring front pike half vault. 17-year-old from Bratislava. So at the moment we haven't got any scores to bring you, but you can make them up yourself if you like. I think it will still conclude with Taya Belak being in the lead. So let's have a look back at this vault from the young gymnast from the wonderful city of Bratislava. Doesn't have enormous tidiness in the pike position. As she turns out of it, the landing is quite jarred, so the form does go a little. 12.85 her qualification score. Apologies for the fact that we haven't got numbers yet for Taya Belak and Radomir Schlitz. We'll try to get those to you just as soon as possible. Second vault for Sara Surmanova of Slovakia. That was executed very well. Layout Sukahara vault. 3.6 difficulty. She had a 3.8 for her second vault in qualification. Now, here are some scores to bring you. 14.05 for Radomir Schlitz, down by 500ths from qualification. A good opening from him. We'll come back to the other competitions in a moment. This is Josh Carnes of the United States of America on the pommel horse, 4th best in qualification. He's only 18. This young lad who competes at the university level, Pennsylvania State. Lovely flares. He's got a bit of bend at the centre though, just slightly in the pike position. Leg separation there, he's controlled well. That's great strength from the young man. And unfortunately, eventually it just caught up with him. And sometimes that can happen when the gymnast has got bend at the hips and the legs just begin to separate. Eventually, it does catch up with them. Perhaps the best analogy, strangely, is a poetic one. W.B. Yeats said, "Turning and turning in the widening gyre." Sometimes you don't realise until it's too late that you've actually deviated too far from the path. And what happened to Carnes there was, by the time it was... it's just not quite got his rhythm back. By the time the rhythm had deteriorated, he'd lost the opportunity really to salvage the display. But this is his senior international debut after all. You've got to give the youngster time. Better this time in his flares. And a nice dismount. Well, 3 portions of a really good routine from Joshua Carnes, young man from Erie in Pennsylvania. .45 for Ferhat Arujan. And that's up by 4/10 from qualification. It certainly looked like it was much better. Judges concurred. Anastasia Ananieva of Latvia, 8th best in the qualification round. She has a little problems stabilising the handspring front pike. So, just by comparison there to what we saw from Sara Surmanova of Slovakia, Ananieva doesn't have the half turn, which takes the difficulty down by a couple of tenths. It's otherwise the same vault. Just 16 from Riga. She trains at the Riga Gymnastics School and made her Senior European Championship debut in Munich. Now let's try to update you on some of the numbers. Sara Surmanova, 12.65. But that's only the score for the second vault, so we don't have the aggregate score yet for Surmanova. Well, we're getting little glimpses of numbers here and there. It's rather like a well-written murder mystery novel, this. Eventually we'll find out who done it, and it's probably going to be Teja Belak. But certainly those of you who've been watching gymnastics for a long time will know that the difficulty of what Belak produced, especially that first vault, the 14 score, has given her a real margin of error. Josh Carnes scores 11.1. Naturally, that's down by almost 3 marks from qualification, but we'll see him again as his career at the elite level and at Pennsylvania State continues. Now we're awaiting a first vault score for Anastasia Ananieva. Execution of 8.25 for this vault in the preliminary round, the handspring front pike. 11.7 for the vault on this occasion. And that, interestingly, has been given a difficulty score of 2/10 low. We'll come back to that. And then Her choice for the second vault of the pike, Tsukahara. It may well be that for that first vault for Ananieva, it was not in the pike position. It might have been given as a tuck, actually. That would possibly explain the lower difficulty by 2/10. To Onur Çelik of Turkey on the pommel horse, 8th strongest in qualification. He's the reigning national champion. Got decent clearance over the pommels so far. Lost the legs just a touch going into the Russian Wendeschwing, but snapped them back together, showing real experience. Magyar-Shivado combination has a sense of control to it, and he dismounts with a certain elegance as well. That's not a bad performance from Onur Çelik. He's from Shavshat in the far east of the country, right by the Georgian border. Second vault at a score of 12 for Anastasia Ananieva. So apologies, we're really not giving you quite the sort of clarity you need in this vault final, but hope you're enjoying watching it nonetheless. Aida Barijanova of Kazakhstan is the next to go, 6th strongest in qualification. .175 was her aggregate score. And she starts with the layout Tsukahara. .24-year-old, very experienced at international level. Not enormously well known for her vaulting by comparison to the floor exercise, where we'll see her later, and indeed the balance beam. She's done well to make it into this particular final. Recently graduated with her degree in coaching from the Eurasian National University. Very interesting going into an educational role when she eventually retires. 12.6 is the score for Çelik. It did look as though his dismount wasn't quite as he intended, and he's dropped a little difficulty as a result. He's down by 0.8 from qualification. Now to the second vault for Aida Barijanova of Kazakhstan. 12.45 for the first. And that was a more difficult vault, full twisting Yurchenko. Now, will she get into contention? Well, will anyone get into contention? We won't know that till we get some numbers through, but certainly Belak will be leading this and leading it quite comfortably. But that's the first full twisting Yurchenko that we've seen in this vault final. So that carries a 4.2 difficulty score. Tiana Corinth, the 33-year-old, will be finishing off this vault final. We have home hope for Turkey in Bengüsü Yıldız and Bilge Tarhan, two gymnasts to come, including the second strongest performer in qualification in Tarhan. We also have Vietnam's Chan Doan Quing Nam as well. So the warm-ups taking place for the second half of this vault competition. Same for the men's pommel horse as well. The change made to the warm-up system was quite recently brought into play, as 12.9 is the score for Barijanova's second vault. Now, this is interesting because that is almost a full mark up from qualification, where she didn't land the full twisting Yurchenko properly at all. So with that, we could see her make a mockery of that 6th position in qualification. We have got comparable difficulty coming from Bengisu Yildiz and higher difficulty coming from Bilge Tarhan, so it's too early really to say where Baudujanova is going to feature, but she certainly is likely to push up the leaderboard a touch. Now over to the men's pommel horse, and Vedant Sawant will be the last to go. So that's the state of play in the men's pommel horse competition at the moment, with Ferhat Alujan well and truly at the top of the leaderboard by 0.4 of a mark. Still to come though, we've got the top qualifier, Xiaoyu Jian. His score though was 14.4, so he's got to improve upon that now. It was clear, wasn't it, by Alujan's reaction at the conclusion of the routine that he knew he delivered, and we talked at the time about his high level of execution. It is the strongest execution score we've seen. Meanwhile, the women's vault standings are still an engaging mystery. And it's a great pleasure to have your company. If you're just joining the action, you're watching the Mersin World Challenge Cup of Artistic Gymnastics. That really isn't Bengisu Yildiz. It's very much Tiana Corrent. But Bengisu Yildiz will be delighted to be mistaken for Tiana Corrent after the career that she's had as a vaulter. Finland represented by Pavel Titov. So we're back underway in this men's pommel horse competition. 7th strongest in qualification. Had some quite pronounced leg bend there, and he showed extraordinary physical strength to rescue that. Good recovery from 29-year-old Pavel Titov of Finland. It's his 2nd World Cup final. He was 4th on the pommel horse in Koper earlier this season. Now to Bengisu Yildiz of Turkey, the 5th strongest in qualification. She made the vault final at the Mediterranean Games earlier this year. She has a very stable looking full twisting Yurchenko. Small deviation from the central line, but she's well in bounds and her landing is tidy. Only 16 still. She competed at the Gymnasiade, an event for school students in Rouen in May. Made the vault final there. But a nice snap at the end of that Yurchenko full. So just to remind ourselves, difficulty-wise, we've got a few full twisting Yurchenko vaults still to come, or a few 4.2 vaults still to come, and we've got some 3.8 scattered around with a 4 as well. That's a 12.95 for Yildiz. She's up by a 10th from qualification. We anticipate Taya Belak at the top of the standings, courtesy of her significantly higher difficulty score than anyone else. Second vault from Bengisu Yildiz. This is good vaulting. She is likely to be in contention. She was using the Nelly Kim vault, the tucked Tsukahara with the full twist. It's good gymnastics. Different sort of vaulting work. Does establish a good looking flight position. The apex of this vault, right there, she snapped pretty tidily into position. Doesn't give away a huge amount in terms of mid-air form deductions. We go over to the pommel horse and the very experienced Austrian Jenny Demirci. He's 31 and he has 5 times been a national champion on this piece. A lovely straight line that is. This is very nice stylistically. Now he's getting a little closer to the pommels as the routine goes on, and just a slight crossover of the leg. Hasn't he recovered well? Oh, just lost that pirouette as he was coming out of it. Seemed almost to drop out of the sky. Pavel Titov has a score, and there it is, 13.35. He's down by 4.5 tenths from qualification. Continued apologies that we can't really give you a full picture of the vault competition, but what we can say is Bengüsü Yıldız scores 12.5 for the second vault, and as such she's improved on both of her vaults to a tune of 3.5 tenths. That may well put her into the podium picture. Now to Chan Doan Quỳnh Nam of Vietnam, the 19-year-old from Haiphong, the third largest city in Vietnam in the northeast. 7th best in qualification, not huge difficulty. And very evidently we've got the reserve gymnast in play. I was thinking it didn't look much like Chan Doan Quỳnh Nam. It's Vivi Nieminen of Finland, who was the bronze medalist at the Nordic Championships in July. So good that we get the chance to see her vaulting, and she also uses the Kim vault. So regrettably no Chan Doan Quỳnh Nam in this vault competition, but the 20-year-old from Jyväskylä vaulting well. We have seen some situations in the World Cups this year where a gymnast who's come in as a reserve has actually managed to get onto the podium. The city that she's from has produced so many Olympic medalists in sports like ski jumping, cross country, Nordic combined. It's very well known for its floorball players as well. Wonderful sport, floorball. The World Championships are happening in Switzerland just after the Artistic Gymnastics World Championships. So she's something of an outlier, being from the settlement of Jyväskylä and being a gymnast. Not a typical sport. 12.5 is the score for Vivi Nieminen. And she did so well at those Nordic Championships in Iceland to win the bronze medal a month after coming fourth at the national championships. It was a big accomplishment for this young athlete. And she does have a very stable landing in the handspring front pike half. Perhaps a little piked on the landing itself, which we might be able to see from a different sort of angle. The angle the judges will certainly have seen it from, but the stability of her landing in terms of the foot placement was tidy. This will give us a clearer indication. Yeah, she's very much nose on knees, but it's well landed and it's good in flight as well. That's a very elegant pike position actually in the air from Vivi Nieminen. 13.1 is the score for Jenny Demirci. So he has lost 3/4 of a mark from qualification. Execution 7.6, and that's easy to see why looking at the finer details of the display. We head now to the top performer in the preliminary round. Xiao Yujian of Chinese Taipei. He's practically hanging from the rafters at the moment. He's got lovely clearance. Russian vendor swings, beautiful. Straight body position. And he seems to be ignoring the basic physics of gravity here. This is delightful. Good hand placement. Oh, powerful Magyar into the Shivado. That's looking lovely. That is really just exquisite gymnastics from Xiao Yujian, the 22-year-old Olympian. Now we've got ourselves a fight for pommel horse gold between Ferhat Arjan and Xiao Yujian. 12.5 for Vivi Nieminen for her second vault. To Bilge Tarhan of Turkey. And she opens with the full twisting Yurchenko as well. And Bilge Tarhan, the 18-year-old from the northwest of Turkey in Bolu province, a little way away from Mersin. Very important strategic city, Bolu. It was the midway point between Ankara and the old Constantinople, now Istanbul. She was the vault national champion last year. Now this is a gymnast who certainly could be in contention. That's a well-executed full twisting Yurchenko for a 4.2 difficulty score. She made her European Championship debut in this building in 2020. 13.15. It looked better than qualification. It was better than qualification. By a tenth and a half. Now, this is where Tarhan might have a little extra difficulty on some other competitors. She posted a 4 for her second vault in the preliminary round. This would make it the second highest total difficulty score. Oh, well, she executes the handspring front pike half. So there is the 4 difficulty. And that, one imagines, puts Bilge Tarhan into medal contention. And that is a super score. 15.05 from Xiao Yujian. 6.1 difficulty, easily the highest. He's improved massively in execution from qualification. To the final gymnast in the pommel horse competition, Vedant Sawant of Australia. This teenager has been a revelation this season. He's got very good hand placement, but he's off. Well, I spoke too soon. For the most part, he was absolutely spot on. And then he just, it's there that it was before that moment, it was where the legs separated going into that rotation of the body that caused the hand to not go down at quite the right angle, and he slips off. And he's going to really battle to stay on. Oh, well done. That will take a real hit to his execution score, but the tenacity he's just shown in keeping on the apparatus is brilliant. He's only 18. He's already won his first national title. Again, give him time. Just give him time. 12.85. Second vault for Bilge Tarhan. She makes an aggregate gain on her qualification performance. That puts her into second place. There we have got some clarity on the standings. Taya Belak leading the way. Tiana Corrint is the last to go. Corrint with the handspring front tuck half vault. 3.8 difficulty score. 33. Still challenging for medals on the international stage. She was fourth last week in Szombathely. gets good clearance from the table, pushes away nicely. She was the first ever gymnast from Croatia to qualify for a European Championship final in women's competition when she made the vault final in 2013. She also was a finalist here in the Mersin Gymnastics Hall in 2020. And she won a bronze medal at the World Challenge Cup again in Mersin in 2019. 12.8, up by 1/10 from qualification. The execution even tidier. Now this is going to be the really important vault for Corinth in terms of getting onto the podium. And it's good. It may be enough. That was the reaction of a gymnast who certainly feels confident following that full twisting Yurchenko. This might be the most central full twisting Yurchenko we've seen in terms of the tram lines. She had a small amount of leg separation in the repulsion phase, got it back together for the flight. 12.45 is the score for Vedant Sawant, the 18-year-old born actually in Gujarat in India, but now at Brisbane State High School. Third time in a World Cup final for him. So the pommel horse specialists depart, and we'll bring you the classified results in just a moment. We've got parallel bars action to come, along with the women's uneven bars. Yes, it truly is going to be no holds barred in a moment as we have those two events side by side. Tiana Corin with a score of 12.95. And she looks in thoroughly good spirits. The victory ceremony for the men's pommel horse competition with Radomir Šlic of Czech Republic taking the bronze medal for his first ever international honours. Congratulations to him. He's joined by Ferhat Arujan of Turkey, who wins the silver medal and who will be returning shortly for the parallel bars victory ceremony. The champion, a stunning performance from Xiao Yujian of Chinese Taipei, a score of 15.05. Xiao Yujian, who won the bronze medal in Paris, he won the silver medal in Szombathely, and a week later he makes it a full set of colours, and he's done it in chronological order as well. 22-year-old with a fantastic performance, and we'll hear the anthem of Chinese Taipei as a result. There they are, the medalists in the men's pommel horse competition at the World Challenge Cup in Mersin, Turkey. The victory ceremony for the women's vault competition with a bronze medal for Tijana Korent of Croatia, the 33-year-old. One place higher than she was last weekend in Sombate. And what a great moment for Turkish gymnastics as well. Bilge Tarhan winning the silver medal, and no doubt at all about the destination of the title. Teja Belak of Slovenia, the champion. Yes, Teja Belak, from the moment that she produced that 14 score for the first vault, was going to be the overwhelming favourite to win it. But what a great podium that is. You've got the youngster just coming through in Bilge Tarhan, relatively new to the senior circuit. You have a 33-year-old veteran, and you also have, winning the title, a gymnast who had her first child last year and has illustrated that it is entirely possible to return to the highest level of competition. We'll hear the anthem of Slovenia. The national anthem of Slovenia, written by France Prešeren in 1844. And the music by Stanko Premel from around 50 years later. Played not for the first time for Teja Belak.